This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everyone. This is Ken Quigley from Keystroke. We are doing a product demo today for a new product that we're announcing and we're going to be featuring next month called Book2act Events. Now, Book2act Events is an online event management system built upon the Calendar Link platform that we introduced in 2019 called Book2act. As some may recall, the first year of Book2act had some challenges as SwiftPage saw fit to break the web API on almost a monthly basis. But fast forwarding almost 18 months, we've certainly seen a lot of improvements that the extra investments have yielded. So we felt a lot more comfortable than maybe last year with all the new API products that we've brought to market, and more on that later. Okay, these improvements have emboldened us to develop things like Handheld Contact. For those unaware, we just released the Android version of Handheld Contact API. We've had Act for Mail out for a little while. We had the opt-in manager, which is also available strictly through the API. And now we have Book2act events. Now, the previous version where it was just called Book2act, we've now rebranded that particular service, as you can see on the screen, called Book2act Calendar. Okay, not a terribly consequential addition. It just created a little bit more clarity when you're in the console. Okay, where you can separate the web API settings from the calendar settings from the event settings. Okay. Now, just to kind of share with you personally how this came about, the inspiration of Book2act Events came when I was trying to plan a virtual AGM, annual general membership meeting for my daughter's daycare, which actually just took place last night. We wanted to use GoToMeeting like we're using today instead of GoToWebinar because it's a far more personal experience with everyone participating equally with their webcam access. The problem was GoToMeeting didn't have a sign-up link. Okay, so there was just one for the meeting. So we didn't have visibility on how many people we could expect for the event because there was no registration. GoToMeeting also didn't have any RSVP management, automated reminders and follow-ups, and certainly no integrations with ACT, where I had all the parents and the teacher list. So this got me to thinking that with the proliferation of Zoom, and the high cost of services like GoToWebinar, which we normally use for events like this, okay, that there was a market for an ACT integrated event management system that made webinars, online meetings and training sessions easier. Just one second here. Easier to organize. Sorry, I've got a call coming in. Easier to organize and optimize with less effort, okay, while still serving as an effective lead generation tool. Okay, so enter Book2act Events. Before we begin the demo, I want to mention that we selected using the web API integration over SDK, firstly, and most obviously because of the existing Book2act foundation, but also because we wanted to integrate this service with current ACT subscribers and new customers to ACT CRM SaaS. Okay, so with that said, let's begin. This is the interface for once you log in, but I want to just kind of quickly go through that on our website. So keystroke.ca, you've got several ways of accessing it. You've got our programs, Book2act, and then you will see Book2act Events. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of scroll down through here. You can see all the different features covered. Here's the some gallery images here. Okay, and then we've got it in the shopping cart where you can read more details. And then the final one is on, let me just go here, go to book2act.com. Okay, where we have redone our complete homepage, and we're actually adding quite a bit to this. So you've got Book2act Events, and then you can see Book2act Calendar, and we'll talk about this later. Okay, so what you do is I'm actually going to close this interface here. So you can we'll enter it in just like anyone else would. Okay, we're going to click on Account Login. Okay, so here you've got the home button. you've got the web API settings. You have to have this set up here in your database, okay, for all the other services, okay, the Book2act calendar and the events and the future forms. Okay, the Book2act calendar settings we're not going to review. Managed subscriptions we'll get to at the end, and then you get events. Okay, now here's the daycare event that we had just last night, and here is the event that is going on right now. Okay, so just scroll down here. Okay, the first thing to know is Book2act events, as I said, is going to be the scheduled November product of the month, meaning it will be debuting on Monday. It's currently not available. It'll be debuting on Monday at 25% off the list price of $79.95. So it's priced exactly like Handheld Contact, but starting Monday, it's going to be closer to $60 for the entire month. That's what we've been doing for quite some time. Is our product of the month is 25% off, and we're debuting it on Monday. And so for the rest of the month, rest of November, it will be closer to $60 and kind of like an early adopter discount as well. The second thing to note is that we have a training webinar on the product of the month, and that's where we're going to schedule. We're going to actually use this demo to schedule that event. Currently, there is nothing scheduled in ACT and no group segmenting for the participants. And for that, I'm actually going to drag over. I've got a remote screen here. Let me just clear this activity. Okay, so everyone could see here, there's November 19th. We'll just go to a quick refresh. There's nothing going on here. And we're gonna go over to groups. Okay, and you can see the Book2act events group. Okay, when the first time you create a group, it will create a parent group called Book2act events, and then the subsequent groups, okay, subgroups. So you can see here that there's nothing, there's just the Austin's test, the today's event, and then yesterday's event. Okay, so I wanted to just bring that. Okay, so let me drag that over. Okay, so now here are the events. Now, the setup, okay, if you went back to the first screen that I showed you under book2act.com, you can set up a trial, but I've already got an account. Setting up a trial is extremely easy. The only thing I'm going to mention is that while the calendar service, Book2act events, or Book2act calendar, is available for a 2-week trial, the Book2act events is only 3 days. We really want to allow people to kind of see it, but we really don't want them putting it into production right away and, you know, having people set up, let's say there's a quarterly webinar, having them set up a, you know, a trial every 3 months, okay, and kind of gaming the system. We want them to have a taste, not a meal, so this will give them a sense of how it works, but it won't give them enough, you know, ramp up time to really promote an event, okay? So just make note of that. Book2act calendar is not required if you want to just sign up for events, okay? So let's actually get going. So here's the 2 events I'm going to click on, create new events. Now, at the beginning, it's just going to ask for several small details. Okay, so it's going to ask for the name of the event. Make it simple. Don't make it something really, really long, because keep in mind a group, a subgroup is going to be named after that. So if it's something like it's in an entire sentence, that's going to be hard to manage. Okay, so put that in. The second thing is the activity type. Now, we've already created one called event. Now, we would like to be able to create, have the, you know, be able to create the custom activity using Book2act events, but currently there is no endpoint for the ACT Web API to create a custom activity, much less create custom activity outcomes. We have requested that recently, and actually we've been assured that it should be available by the end of the year. So more on that, but for now, we're asking that people, if they subscribe to this, they create a custom event. Is really important. Don't set it up as a meeting or anything like that, because you want to be able to use things like history lists and that to really be able to effectively filter. okay? So I've selected mine in advance here, and I am going to go to November 19th, which is a Thursday, 03:00 p.m. Okay, and then I'm going to click on create. Now, the moment it clicks on create, okay, it is going to put it back into list view, okay? Now, at this point, a couple of things to note. Let's go back to my view here. I'm gonna click on refresh. You see, public training is automatically created by the API. Now let's go over to calendar. Okay, and now let's click on refresh. And now this event is automatically created, okay? But I'm gonna do one thing here. I'm gonna return to that when I show you that we're gonna make a change to this event here. But first of all, I wanna go through these particular icons, okay? So the first one is a hyperlink. You brush your mouse across each one of them, it's gonna display the purpose. Copy link basically will copy, you haven't seen it yet, but it will copy the event-specific URL that you're going to be using to promote the event and provide people added to your website so they can click through and register. Okay, more on that later. This is a duplicate event. Okay, self-evident. If you, like for me, I could have used a duplicate event of today's event to copy the details over for this. Okay. In this case, then there's edit. Now the view here is basically this plus a lookup. Okay, so it's going to copy the link and then just go to it. Okay, but for now, since this is a brand new event, I'm just going to click on edit. Okay, so inside the screen, obviously you've got save, save and close, cancel and delete submission. Immediately you're going to notice you've got your unique URL. So you can either copy and paste it or just click on the copy button and that will copy it to the clipboard. Now you can see several of the fields that you've already named. Here you put in the event name, you've put in the time, and you've put in the event. However, you've got duration here, and obviously it defaulted to 15, but I'm going to put 60, okay? And I'm gonna click on save, not save and close. And now I'm gonna go back to this. See here. Okay, come on. Okay, it is, let me just see here. Okay, so that is not updating, not sure why. I'll get back to that. It's actually the first time I've not seen that work. Or maybe it's actually saving close afterwards, so I'll double check that. Okay, so then there is a show in document link. So what we wanted to do, now the next three fields I'm going to demonstrate are URLs, okay? So the first one is show a document link. Now this has to be enabled because by default, not everyone's going to need it, okay? But if you have things like documents that you want to share relating to the event, then what you can do is you can share them on services like Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, or whatever. We're not going to get into the business of document storage. So what I'm going to do is I've already created a share, and I'm going to paste in this. Okay. Now there's a couple of things to note. This link and this link are not revealed as part of the invitation. Okay, these two fields are only shared when someone registers, so it's only sent with the confirmation email. And the reason we did that is the same reason that I explained at the beginning. I wanted to have some sense of the people that were showing up, how many people had a valid email. I didn't want people registering with invalid emails and still getting all the appropriate event details. So these two fields, document link and location, are only sent to people with a valid deliverable email, okay? So the next event, or the next field, is the actual location of the event. So I've got that copied here. So this would be any link that you've got for Zoom or GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, anything like that, but something that you want to be for people to kind of click through at the last stage, okay, to join the event. The next one is more information. Now, this is useful because currently this memo box does not support, you're going to be putting in a lot of event details, not too much, but some event details, and you don't want to have too much things that require formatting. Right now, we don't have a whole lot of formatting options here. So what we wanted to do in order for you guys to surface clickable links, we put in this more information link. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy link here, and I'm going to put in one of the links that I showed you guys. Okay, I think it's this one here. Okay, now the next one is, when do you want all the people that have registered, how many hours in advance do you want them sent a reminder? Okay, so I'm going to say that I want, because it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to say 6. Okay, and then the number of days to keep the submissions. I want to be really, really clear here, and I want you to pass this on to your customers. We are, like, anytime you create an event and you get all kinds of signups, there's a lot of email information, names and email informations that are going to be stored. We do not want to be keeping that kind of information on the servers indefinitely. So you've got like between 1 and 99 days to keep. Okay, we'll just put 30 here as the default, and then that is pretty much it. After 30 days, it will clear from the server. And the reason that we set that, obviously, we want to make sure that we don't run into any privacy issues, but the nature of everything that we've designed with Book2act calendar, Book2act events, and the soon to be released Book2act forms is that even though you're managing everything within the web console and it's doing a lot of the labor for you, all the information is being written to act. So all the people that participated, the histories of when they signed up, when the event took place, linking to the activity, adding them to groups, all of that has been has already been written to act. So you really don't need to keep this kind of information. And since it's going to be on our servers, we want to make sure that people have the ability. You can see that you can click on delete submissions at any point. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go over to the events section, and I'm going to scroll here, grab some details, go to our training page, and I'm just going to copy some text in here. Okay, so I've copied in some text. You'll notice here there isn't a toolbar or anything like that. That is something that we're working on, but the technology that we're using has made this a little trickier than expected. Okay, now, so we've got this, and then I'm going to say send a follow-up activity. How many hours after? I'm going to say 24 hours after the activity, and we're just going to say, I'm going to put in thanks for attending. I can edit this later. Okay, now what's really useful about this field is, you know, it kind of ties together the entire suite of products with the Book2act suite of products. So you can put in here, thanks for attending. Please let us know what you thought of the event and include a form in here. Okay, so you've got an actual form in here that will link back and allow people to enter in their feedback, and you would get that in. And then if you'd like to talk to me about the event, you can put in a Book2act calendar link. Okay, that also provides them the ability to follow up with you on the event. So all three of these things are really mutually reinforcing. Okay, now I'm going to select an image. Now this is a event-specific image. It is not pulling it from the Book2act calendar settings or anything else, or the API settings. This is an event-specific image, and I am going to select the calendar here. No, that's calendar. Let's say I'm going to say powered by Book2act here. Okay. Now let's quickly go through. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, because I didn't have the details thing. I've got all of this in here. It's not like, that's why I didn't update to see. The location field is now here. And now I'm going to click on Save and Close. Okay, so now I'm going to go back here and see how this works. Okay, so now you can see that it is now a full hour. It's at 3 o'clock. Okay, 3:01. Better check that. Okay, and now it's important to, I'm going to show you that if we, let me just go back here. We go into this event. Okay, you can see only I am linked to this. Okay. Now, we are going to, as I showed you all of these links here, copy, duplicate. This one actually is the kind of copy and go. So let's click on that and see what we're looking at. Okay, so now we've got the Book2act logo at the top. You can see here, here's the title, event scheduled for 3 p.m. Okay, Eastern Daylight Savings Time. You'll see you've got a little bold details section, and then you've got the, it does respect things like hard returns and things like that. It just doesn't support bold or in HTML characters or brackets. So that's why you can see here additional information. You're not seeing the location. You're not seeing the document link. Okay, so now it says fill out the information. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter in chris@keystroke.com, which isn't a valid email. Okay, and then I'm going to put in Chris. Now, Huffman. Okay, now chris@keystroke.com is not a valid email, but I am still, while chris@keystroke.com won't be deliverable, I will still be copied on it. Okay, so I'm going to click on sign up. Now, you're going to notice here, there you've still got the logo, and then you click here, and this will allow you to download an ICS file. Okay, if you're there, download the ICS file so that, you know, even if you've got it with a mobile phone or you get it with your Outlook, it will create the event in your calendar. Okay, so that you now have both of it in your calendar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the email for this event. Okay, so this is what was sent to me, okay, and what also would have been sent to Chris Huffman if this was a valid email, okay? So you've got the logo at the top, you've got the event information, you've got the actual location, the registration link. So whatever link you're using, Zoom, GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, whatever service, I think there might be Teams services, Skypes, things like that, okay? Then you've got at the bottom, you've got the more information link, which I told you was included in both the invite and delivered afterwards. And then you've got the additional documents, okay, where you click here, okay, and it shows you the document link. So let's say you had brochures or anything like that that was associated with it, maps, who knows, you'll be able to use that, okay? Now, let's go back to the email. Okay, so here's the email. So now let's see some of the magic that has taken place in ACT. Okay, let's click on refresh. So now you can see that Chris Huffman has been added to this. Okay, Chris Huffman at Keystroke Enterprises. So he's automatically been linked to this activity. Now let's go to the groups. If I click on here, you can see Chris Huffman has been added to this event as well. Okay, so imagine publishing this on your website, putting in your email signature, adding it to social media, or sending out an email blast, okay, and having people, you know, click and sign it up. So not only are you going to have people that are, you know, linking to it, are being added, linked to it that are existing, okay, but what is really nice is From a lead generation standpoint, if this gets passed on to, you're emailing people, so obviously you're going to have their contact information, but let's say someone forwards it off to someone else not in your database, or let's say someone sees it in a digital space that you're posting it on, like whether it's your website, social media, and they click on it and it's not in your database, then those people will be first added to your database and then linked to the group and then linked to the activity. So it's a really, really strong lead generation tool from that perspective. Okay. Let's see, where am I? Okay. So now we've got location. Okay, now the history, when people actually sign up, I'm going to remove back here. Let's actually go to Chris. This poor guy has been used quite a bit. Okay, so you can now see that this contact has been updated at 1:23. Okay, I tested him here at 12:58 as well. Okay, so the public demo, but you can see that he registered for this event. Okay, and that has updated the history as kind of a system history. Okay, now pull this over. Okay, so the nice thing is if anything changes, okay, if anything changes in the event, like let's say you move it from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, you've got the ability to send them out reminders that will then update them with the time. It will, if you change it in the web console, getting back here, okay, you change it in the web console here, okay, it will update it in Act as well, okay? Now, just a quick note, if you delete something, it will not delete it from the from Act, because we intend to delete all of the events, okay? And obviously, we're not going to create some kind of trash link between this console and the activities that it generated. So just keep in mind that if you click on delete submission and it's already been created, you'll have to go back to Act and manually delete it there if it's an event that never took place, okay? Now, as I said, as the event approaches, you're going to be sent to, the reminders will automatically be sent out based on the advance notice that you're putting in here, okay, the alert time, and then the same thing with afterwards. So just to kind of recap here, think of how little work that you've had to do compared to previous, okay? One, this is creating a sign up link. It's creating all the verbiage. Yes, you'll need, something, either a paid or a free service like Zoom, okay? But now everything you're setting up in here is being reflected instantly in Act, okay? You're able to filter by all the events, okay? You're able to surface things like document links and more information links. You're able to send out reminders all in one step. This is a set it and forget it, okay? You're able to set the purge parameters, the event details here, and then the follow-up details afterwards. So, you're pretty much setting it up, and then the only thing you've got to remember to do afterwards, much like today, is to really host the event. And then after that, you can follow up with people either automatically or follow up with them, based on their own responses to your follow-ups. Okay, but as I said, the nice thing about our Book2act family of products is that when you set up this, the follow-up event, you can be asking them to take a survey with the Book2act soon to be released forms. You can ask them to book a time with you if they have any questions with you using the Book2act calendars. So all of these things are meant to mutually reinforce. Think of all the services out there that you might otherwise, in the absence of Book2act events, have to cobble together at whatever expense and however much duplication of labor to be able to deliver all of this type of integrated solution, none of which would talk to Act. So this is why we wanted to bring this to market, because we think of the amount of people that are starting to use, online virtual lunch and learns, the amount of webinars that, both Act consultants, wealth planners, mortgage brokers, real estate agents, any kind of insurance brokers, all of these guys are really engaging with their customers virtually. Okay, and this is really the only way that they can, meet and greet anymore. Now, what we've provided with this is a one-stop solution that allows them to set up an event, okay, and then, email it out, promote it however they want, online, direct email, you name it, and really watch the event populate with interest. And they can just keep going back to ACT, checking the groups, checking the event, and the event service will then even remind people just to kind of maximize the attendance. So there's no steps missed, but no further intervention from you is required until the actual event itself. Okay, so with that, I'm just going to pause and open it up to questions since we're at the 30-minute level. So I'm going to, let's see, we've got a few questions here. What happens if there's already a subgroup with the same name? That's pretty unlikely. I mean, obviously you're going to learn some tricks along the way because a Book2act events group is going to be created. If you're going to create the exact same event, I'm going to suggest that you, knowing that the grouping is a major part of this particular service, that you give it a slightly different name. Even incorporate maybe the month that it's in. Okay. Brian Pearson said, did you say we should create the custom activity called event? That's what we used, and it makes perfect sense, intuitive sense to me. But what my point was that is create a custom activity in advance, because currently we can't do that because there's no endpoint for the API. Okay, we're hoping before the end of the year that will be supported, and then we'll create a little button that says create activity now, and then boom, you're done. Okay, we don't like asking people to go back, but now with the SaaS service and other services, you can do that. Okay. Robert Purdy. How does this resolve on a mobile device? It is responsive. Okay, so everything that we have we've done, we've made sure that works on a tablet, and it stacks up nicely on this. So obviously, we've done some stats, and I think it was in 2019. The stats came back that I think 53% of all websites were consumed through mobile platforms. So obviously, we're not going to ignore that, and we're going to make sure it's responsive. Okay, Brian Pearson, how about integration with event planning custom tables? Interesting question, Brian, and not a bad one at all. We thought about integrating it in with custom tables. However, we wanted to make sure that this was compatible with SaaS, and we wanted to make sure that people were not looking at signing up for an $80 expense and requiring a $120 upgrade to their Act CRM SaaS service. So we made sure that this would not require any additional add-ons. That was my first impulse, but as we kind of gamed it all out, we didn't, the whole purpose of this is to keep the cost for organize these things under $7 a month. But when you add immediately $10 for custom tables, that's kind of, killing it. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, that's what I've got in the chat line. Anyone want to ask any questions out loud? Okay. Let me think. Can I unmute? Oh, I got another question here. Okay. What happens if there's already a subgroup? Okay, so like I said, it will be mindful that it's if you overwrite a group, if you type out a name with the exact same, not sure why this is being asked twice, but it's very unlikely that you're going to create duplicate events knowing that this is a service. But if you create the exact same name, it's not going to overwrite it. My guess is it's going to supplement it, which means that you're just creating bad data. Okay. Brian Pearson says, understood, maybe an automation to link the event to custom data. Again, obviously with us as the developers of Tables for ACT, I wanted to incorporate custom tables, but not at the risk of doubling or tripling the cost of the service. Okay. Okay. I.e. the contact. Sorry, Brian, I'm not sure I'm getting that reference. Okay, I'm going to see if I can actually unmute everyone. Okay. Okay, I don't know how to unmute everyone, so
I think people should be able to unmute themselves.
If you can unmute, yeah, that's what I thought. So Brian, if you want to kind of unmute yourself.
Yeah, I don't mean to beat a dead horse. I was just thinking, and once I test it, I'll know. But I was just thinking, even if I, out of the box in my head right now, an automator button that says, to link the custom event that you're managing in the custom table with the calendar event. That's kind of where I was going with that. So
yeah, and maybe in future, okay. And let me, if I'm going to kind of take this as a segue, Brian. I'm just going to kind of cover some of the future roadmaps with this, and then we'll get into larger roadmaps. So some of the things that we want to do is we want to obviously provide greater formatting capabilities with the memo box, so you can do things like bold and underline and things like that. Just simple formatting things. But more importantly, we also want to integrate. We want to provide Zoom and GoToMeeting integration. The purpose of which is that once you set this up, you can also put in your Zoom or GoToMeeting credentials and import in the full activity details and map the fields accordingly. So just one more step to save you time, okay? And the more that we make it easier for people, the less duplication of labor, the more that we think that people are going to adopt it, especially with how tightly it's integrated with ACT. And let's be honest, guys, like we could have gone the SDK route, but we want to really provide add-ons for subscribers, add-ons for the ACT CRM SaaS. And the more that we provide online tools like this that are available for all the other online CRMs, okay, the less likely we're going to lose customers that are looking for these types of services, forms services, events services, calendar link services. Okay, so we're providing this full product suite of services that we believe all mutually reinforce to provide the same kind of services for the same kind of demographics, the professionals that are hosting these types of lunch and learns, education sessions, online meetings, or in a rarer use case like I had this week, I'm the president of my daughter's daycare, being able to organize an annual general membership meeting, okay, and be able to see everyone on all the different camera tiles. So it was a much more, personal and engaged event, okay, as opposed to, having, just a shared screen and talking throughout the whole thing, okay?
Ken, the integration with the calendar was because you have to have both. You want the Book2act calendar, and the Book2act event, and then the forms is the third Book2.
Yeah.
Is that for custom forms on your website that link to
Exactly.
the other two?
Yeah, so you'll be able, and I'll talk about more on that next month when I've got more to show you. If what I recommend, if you're interested in any of the details, go to our website, click on shop. Actually, what you can do is just go here, Book2act products, and click on forms, and you can kind of go through and read about the details of it. Here's kind of the breakdown of it all. Okay, and that as you kind of think about what you would do in organizing an event, in engaging with people afterwards, soliciting feedback, you're going to realize that all of these things kind of dovetail each other and mutually reinforce each other. And we think are going to provide a really, really nice, complement to each other. So much so, I don't mean to sound like the the slap chop guy, and and one more thing, that if any of the subscribers use Book2act forms and Book2act events, they will get the $60 Book2act calendar free of charge as part of the subscription.
Perfect. I'm working with a little opera house that puts on 2 or 3 concerts a year, and that's why my questions are focused.
Yeah, and like I said, Brian, I've got no issues with you trying to raise and kind of impress the importance of custom tables integration. We went that way initially, but we just realized that is, while that may drive up maybe some table sales, it is more likely to decrease adoption with this service. So I kind of want to come in through the front door and say this is what we're selling, and not trying to backdoor other products.
Awesome.
Okay.
Looks
So
great.
I'll just pause to see if there's any other questions. Please unmute yourself if you've got some questions. I see there's another chat request here. Oh, Bob's asking if Book2act form needs the A capitalized on this page. I've got a lot of branding meetings with the new CMO of SwiftPage. I'm going to say right now, no, but who knows? I may be corrected by this time next week. So we'll see. We're not looking to make it look exactly like Book2act. We're dropping the exclamation mark, or sorry, act. We're dropping the exclamation mark. It's meant to convey the product that it's integrating with, not, create any confusion in branding. Okay. And there's a couple more. Excellent. Thank you for the feedback. Bob, appreciate you thinking that's funny. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. Okay, I'll give one last chance here. If there's no other questions, please unmute yourself. Okay, so I want to respect everyone's time, and I want to just kind of wrap up with what we've got coming. So the Book2act events is going to be launched on Monday. Okay, so as the product of the month, so it's normally $79.95, exactly like Handheld Contact, but it's going to be 25% off as the early adopter and product of the month for November. Okay, and so make sure that people can sign up to get that discount. Book2act forms, we expect to have in beta by mid-November, and we hope to be releasing it in the second half of November. So, obviously based on the feedback, there's no fixed release date. Based on the feedback, that will drive the release date. To be honest, events probably took 1 or 2 weeks longer than was expected, but that had as much to do with me as well. I kept wanting to add things like the document links, the event reminders, the follow-ups, and like all of these things. As I started, putting it into production, I realized all the additional features that were required to really deliver a complete event management solution. Okay. One of the other things that we're hoping to get done in November is finalizing the debugging. We've got Book2act Calendar Teams Edition available, but we're just kind of grappling with some time zone issues. So more on that, but that will allow you to basically aggregate a bunch of Book2act calendar accounts and say, and create a team, and that way if someone clicks on it, they'll see the next available person of that team without having to worry about booking a time with one particular person. So as it relates to keystroke, if someone wanted to book a time with the next available salesperson, the next available support person, they may not care who each of those people are. They've got a question, they want to dictate the time based on their availability, not an individual on the other side that they don't even know. So that's why we've created the team. And for some of our other functionalities, it makes a lot of sense as well. Now, one of the other things we've got is Web Planner. Web Planner has been out for about a year and a half. Maybe a little bit longer, and that was a product that was developed in Silverlight that we brought over to HTML5. We were hoping to make some better inroads in the general standalone product management market. I'm not going to lie to you, it's just way too expensive to really play in that game. The cost of conversions are, similar to CRM conversions. They can run between $100 and $150. So we thought, it doesn't make sense for us to compete on the open market for greenfield deals when we have and kind of a standing advantage from an integration standpoint. So what we've done is we've spent the last little while, and we'll hope to be introducing that sometime in November, a much tighter integration with ACT, where assignees are linked to record managers, where projects are linked to contacts, where projects are also linked to opportunities. So you can create an opportunity instantly by saving a project, and then therefore surface some of the projects you've got in the Web Planner application within a unique sales cycle of the opportunity table. Okay, and then be able to track cost items under cost tasks in Web Planner, but under products and the opportunity, and also be able to reflect, progress towards completion, much like with the probability percentage. Okay, so the purpose of this is to provide the entire ACT team with visibility on ongoing projects that are being managed outside of the app, but reflected inside of the app. So we're really excited about that. More on that to come. I don't want to get too far ahead of the development on that, but that's we're excited about. The one that I just leaked the other day that I'm really, really excited about is Handheld Contact Lite. If you haven't heard about this, Handheld Contact Lite is going to be an iOS and Android Lite version of Handheld Contact API that only includes the contacts. What we're basically saying, it's an API Rolodex. Okay, so anyone that you guys have subscribers with, you'll be able to go to them and say, without signing up for anything in on the Handheld Contact website, they'll be able to do everything on their device. They simply download the Handheld Contact Lite, they put in their API information, okay, and they can download the contacts from a specific group. I've got a blog on the website here if you want to read more details on that. Okay, it discusses all of the fields that you're getting. It discusses what it is and discusses what it isn't. There's no calendar included, no mobile mapping, no opportunities. And keep in mind, and this is the most important thing, it's a one-way sync. So while it will support editing contacts and dialing out and emailing and SMS and all of that, those actions are supported, but the history of those actions will not sync back to ACT because it's a download only functionality, okay? But a Rolodex is kind of read-only too. And what we've heard is that a lot of people really just want their contacts for calling, emailing, things like that in the field at their fingertips. And we are making this free, not time bombed, not throttled beyond what I've described. It is freeware, obviously. There will be, obviously prompts to say, what features are available with a paid subscriptions and which are not. But this is what it is, and it will just keep running. And we think that it's really important that, companies like us provide as much value for the API, the API features that available with subscription, because as we all know, there's been rescoped support, so people are getting less support than what they have historically got. We know that this year there won't be a new version of ACT, so that will likely take place in late spring of next year. So there's going to be a lot of people that we're looking at over the next 6 months that may be questioning the value of subscription. So if you're wondering why we're investing so heavily in the forums, is we want to provide people the ability to take advantage of this one, undeniable feature of subscription, which is the web API access. So you can go to them and say, here is your contact list, here is your Rolodex of all the contacts that you want on your device, no questions asked. You're able to download and update them every week if you like. Okay, so if you're worried there's all kinds of changes, you can download them. Everyone knows how fast the download is. You can get thousands and thousands of contacts in minutes. Okay, we've seen up to 3,000 per minute. So you can get 10,000, okay, in a matter of 2, 3, 4 minutes. So the ability to kind of update, while it is kind of a nuke and pave each and every time you download, it is nice to be able to get all of those updates. But it's just important to control expectations that, the histories of the calls, the history of the emails, well, all of those actions are supported. The history of those events will be overwritten the next time that they do a download. Okay, so I'm going to pause, and one other thing, December, we're going to be building an API version of the notifier so that you'll be able to have even more automation through the API than you've ever had before. So all the things that you're used to, with the exception of change tracking, okay, just because it will create too much overhead on the API. But all the things that you're used to, being able to automate all kinds of renewal notices and things like that through the notifier, through previously limited to the SDK, now you can use it, hopefully early in the new year through the API. So people that are on SaaS, people that are on cloud only, will be able to access some of the features that were previously limited to just Windows clients. Okay, so with that, I'm just going to pause and see if there's any questions. Okay, so I think we've answered most of the questions. So what I'm going to do is I'll wrap up and give everyone back their day. I hope this session was of value to you guys. We're really excited about the roadmap that we've got in the coming months. And I hope that you guys will help socialize some of these products and share them with your customers so they can all get better advantage of the subscriptions that we're paying for, that we all want them to renew. Okay, so with that, thank you very much, guys. Hope you enjoyed yourself and have a great weekend.